Kia ora everyone, hello and welcome into the first episode of the Kiwi Darts Podcast for 2025. Ben Francis with you, and thank you so much for tuning in wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate all the listeners out there. It is great to have you tuning in to the Kiwi Darts Podcast. Happy New Year, and it sounds weird saying this at the end of January. I feel like though in January you can get away with it if you haven't seen anyone, so I'm going to use that law there to my, it's actually not a law, but you know what I mean. I'm going to use that to my advantage here. But it's also our first episode of the year, so great. Thank you for so much for tuning in. It has been a while since we did post an episode, but we've had quite a few tech issues again. Quite frustrating, but we are back in business. Of course, it's really difficult to get lots of stuff done during Christmas, especially tech problems, but we are there. We are back here. We're going to be bringing you some great interviews from darts in a New Zealand perspective, as we like to say here on the Kiwi Darts Podcast. Now, a lot has actually happened in darts since we last did an episode. Of course, the PDC World Darts Champs have been and gone. Luke Littler, the 17-year-old, now 18 at the time of recording, the new world champion. Lots of players jumping up and down the rankings, and geez, we've even had a few events since then. Of course, PDC Q School has also been and gone as well. So plenty of things have been and gone in the world of darts, but we're here to talk about darts from a New Zealand perspective, as we always do on the Kiwi Darts Podcast. Just touched on Q School literally a matter of seconds ago, and our first episode of the year, we are speaking to someone that is back on the PDC Tour. Yes, Bradley Brooks had one of the most amazing performances at Q School you could ever imagine. 16 points across the 4 days, couple of finals, 2 quarterfinals as well, I think it was off the top of my head. Absolutely amazing. But the reason why we are talking to Bradley Brooks, aka Bam Bam, is because at the back end of last year, he signed with Shot Darts. And for those that are fully aware, Shot Darts, based in Katikati, in the Tauranga area, Bay of Plenty, and in New Zealand. So it is great having that New Zealand connection to a player who is back on the tour for the third time in his career. And it was just more the fact of how clinical he was in those displays as well at Q School. Absolutely amazing. So that's enough from me. Let's rip right into it. Here's our chat with Bradley Brooks. Firstly, welcome on to the Kiwi Darts Podcast. Congratulations on getting your PDC Tour Card back after such a dominant display at Q School. Have you had much time to kind of reflect on how well you actually played it across the entire Q School?
Yeah, it was a great Q School for myself. Obviously, I played myself into a bit of form leading up to Q School, so I was looking forward to getting stuck into it. I didn't predict it to be so as dominant as it was. But I kind of knew after the first day of the first stage, and I got through with my performances, I kind of knew I had a great chance if I just kept doing the right things at the right time. And yeah, now it's settled a little bit. I'm proud of what I've done, and I can't wait to get started back on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, and after 2 days, so you reached the final on the first day and then on the second day as well. So I guess, what was your mood like heading into those last 2 days? Because I guess there'll be that disappointment that you obviously didn't get the automatic tour card, but you must have been feeling good in a way because you thought it would take probably a miracle for me to blow up from here.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, I was disappointed to lose both finals, both 6-5 as well, which is never nice. It was weird because them 2 finals were the only 2 games in the first 2 days that I lost the ball in, and I lost them both 6-5, so that was a bit annoying. But no, obviously, even on the third day when I got beat in the quarterfinals, I was a bit disappointed in myself because I was there and I wanted to win. I wanted to win it outright. So there was, even though I was pretty much already through, it was still big to me to try and win one outright. But in the end, getting the 16 points, I was happy enough just to get back on the tour, really.
I think that was actually a record haul, 16 points, and I think you averaged pretty much in the 90s most of the time. I think there might have been a couple that were just slightly under and slightly just above as well. So it must have been, pleasing in such a, I would call it a tense environment. Obviously, I've never experienced it, but when you hear people talk about what it's like to be there, there's a lot of pressure there. And so to actually do that consistently, that must be pretty pleasing, knowing that what you're capable of.
Yeah, 100%. I think the main thing, especially when you go on the Pro Tours, or I've done it enough times now, is the difference between the people at the bottom and the top is just consistency in doing it every week in, week out. So to go Q School consistently, be one of the top performers, it was pleasing. But like you say, Q School's not a nice place to be at. But with the lads who I sit with, like Ted Everts, Jim Moston, all my good friends who I've grown up playing with, we we support each other, and it's quite a nice table to be on. So we really enjoyed I enjoyed it in that sense because we take it as serious as we can, but we have a bit of joke with it, so it's not constantly serious. So yeah, it was good, really.
Obviously, this is your third time winning a tour card, but does it get any easier going there? Because we hear about the standard of the semi-pro or the amateur player getting better. So has it been harder every time you've gone?
Yeah, it's definitely got harder. The standard has definitely got better from the previous times I've got through Q School. I think what's harder as well, when you've been there a few times and done well there and won a card, is when you go back there, people seem to, you have a big target on your back, so people want to beat you, and it either goes one or two ways. They want to beat you because they know of you, or they relax because they think maybe they don't have a good chance against you. But yeah, I think it's hard. It's very hard. Me and Ted was having a chat about it. I think when you've just come off the tour or you've been on the tour before, I think walking into Q School, you have a massive target on your back. So it's just dealing with that and just playing as well as you can, really.
Yeah, and I think when you first won your tour card and then you lost it for that first time, I think you got it back straight away. And this time there was a bit of a gap between you getting your tour card back. So do you think maybe having that break in between probably helped you? Because I guess you can go out, you obviously played on the Motor Super Series and a few events like that and had quite a lot of success.
When I lost my tour card, I was obviously devastated because that's all I've really known since I was 17. But I think the ADC and the Modus has really helped, and it made me realise that as much as I enjoy playing at the Modus and playing in the ADC stuff and the odd WDF competition I did play, and I think it made me realise more what I wanted to do, and that was play on the Pro Tour week in, week out.
Yeah, and I guess that's good to have that kind of mindset. And obviously, you're back on the tour this year. Have you kind of outlined some of those goals you want to achieve in your first year out holding the tour card again?
It's the same as every year I've been on. It's just to obviously play some consistent stuff up, and it's just mainly getting into the Players' Championship and the World Championships at the end of the year. I think because if you're going to keep your tour card over the 2 years, getting in the Worlds both years is you have to do it, really. So it's mainly just keeping the form I'm doing, keep playing well consistently, and getting into the Worlds and the Players' Championship finals at the end of the year.
You touched on before as well. I think you said you were 17 when you first got your tour card, and I think you're 24 now, if memory serves me correct. So you've actually got quite a lot of experience, which I guess for someone as young as yourself is actually quite a rarity. So I guess when you think about some of those past experiences you've had, what can you take from that and probably apply it to this time around?
Yeah, I think, like you say, I'm quite lucky compared to some of the other tour card holders who's won the card this time, because like I say, I've done it and played multiple pro tours and done it for a long time. So I've got an edge on the new people coming on. But yeah, it's just little things of timing, knowing when to put the gas on and games, and if you're losing, because obviously eventually you are going to stall a little bit on the pro tour because there's the best 128 players in the world there, so you're not going to win every game. So it's just not getting too downbeat about the defeats and just bouncing back the next day or the next weekend you're there. And I think that's the main thing for me, just to keep, if things aren't going right straight away, just to keep doing what I'm doing, practicing hard, and keep confident, because the results will come.
Being off the tour though, you must have a lot of hunger to really come back and really make the most of this opportunity as well, because it's you say 128 players in the world all fighting for the same thing, and it could be an absolute dogfight out there.
100%, and like you say, even though I wasn't on the tour, I was still watching because I have friends who play on the Pro Tour. So watching them play on the Pro Tour was when I was playing, say, like the Modus. In that, as much as I love the Modus, it was not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be on the Pro Tour. So I can't stress. I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas. Can't wait to get back and playing again on the Pro Tour.
Oh, good stuff. And it's not too much of a long wait. And you're saying just then as well that you got lots of friends that play on it as well. Are you much of a darts follower, or do you like, in terms of, do you like watching the events, or are you just someone that just to really focus on just playing the game?
I'd say I'm a fan still. Yeah, I watched a lot of the World Championships this year. I always check on the Pro Tour to see how my friends are doing. And if darts is on, I will watch it. So yeah, I do enjoy it. And I think when I watch the darts, it gives me the drive to want to practice and I want to, if I watch a world, like this year when I was watching the World and I wasn't there, I wanted to start practicing and I was like, I want to be there again next year. So yeah, I think watching it does give me a bit of a drive to do better and better myself sometimes.
Yeah, good stuff. And of course, we're going to touch on your move to shot soon, which happened at the back end of last year. But just got a few questions just with regards about your journey in darts. And what is your earliest memory of darts, and whether that is playing darts or when you first saw it on the telly? What are some of those memories that you can recall?
Yeah, I remember I used to play football more than darts, and I remember breaking my foot and not being able to play football. And my dad used to play darts, so I wanted to. I was like, oh, can I join in? Can I join in? So then it used to be playing football on a Sunday morning and then going to a darts competition Sunday afternoon. And then it got to the point where it was hard work doing both. So I made the choice to play darts. And yeah, I think I prefer playing darts than football now. It's a lot warmer in a venue than it is outside playing football.
Yeah, I believe that. Do you recall that kind of moment when you thought, I'm actually pretty good at this? And I guess that moment where you might have said, okay, I'm just going to do the focusing on the darts as opposed to football?
I couldn't really pinpoint a point. A lot of people, obviously, when you're always playing in competitions, was like for your age, you're very good. But for me, I couldn't really pick. No, I couldn't really have a picture when I realised I was pretty good at it. I think it was just. I don't think I was ever like the best player in the room, but I just kept working hard and just like I was make every year I was getting better and better. So I think it was more. I was more of a slow, like instead of bursting onto. I was always there, just working hard on my game and getting better and better, and my averages were going up and up as the years went on.
And with regards to your practice, I've heard you touched on that a bit, and watching some of the events, it makes you want to do a bit more practice. But what does your kind of practice routine look like? And I guess do you ramp it up a lot now that you're on the pro tour?
Yeah, I say like I say, my practice is always usually between 2 to 3 hours a day, depending. I It never changes. I always do the same thing. So like I do 1-2-1 in six, all the way to 170 doubles score, and I do scoring games and like finish off with just best of 11s against the computer. And obviously sometimes I'll have people around practice with. But yeah, I try minimum to do 2 hours a day every day. To be honest, now.
Oh, okay. So that's a pretty decent amount. Because do you believe it? Obviously you would know better than me and people listening. But when people say they don't really practice and they're at the top of the game, what do you kind of react to when you hear that?
I think some of them might not always be telling the truth. Gary Anderson, I can believe because I've been on the Pro Tours and I've seen him not get his darts out as the event starts and then go and average 110. So I can't believe Gary doesn't practice. But some of them, I think they're telling a few fibs when it comes to not practicing.
Yeah, there's definitely probably a few out there. I definitely believe that, and of course, just to touch on it before as well. You moved to shot recently, and that was quite a big thing as well, and timed well with you getting your tour card back, and of course, shot being a New Zealand company. It's great to see from a New Zealand perspective, seeing you on the tour. So, could you just tell us a bit about how that move to shot came about?
Yeah, it was just obviously I got to a point in my career when I was been with Target for a while, and I was looking for something new, and we ended up getting in contact with Shot, and we speaking to Shot, and from what I was hearing from Shot and what they stand for and what they do, and I thought it was a good move for me, and a fresh start. And obviously, since I've been with Shot, I've loved every minute of it. I think they're a great company and a great bunch of people. And like you say, when I got my darts, when we started working on my darts, the designers knew what I needed, but obviously I knew what Shot liked to do with the darts. So I think it was a perfect match in between. And they got my darts right first time. There was no tweaking needing done. And yeah, it's very rare you get that. So I was really happy and I'm enjoying my time with Shot.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's pretty good that they kind of just made the one prototype, and you were pretty happy with it. But I guess with shot being based on the other side of the world, I guess how did that process play out?
Yeah, it was a lot difficult, obviously, with being the other side of the world, but it was quite smooth, really, for how hard it could have been. It was just the designer had ideas, I had a few ideas. We'd send them over, and it come like they'd send over like through WhatsApp or email like designs, and obviously it was a bit harder because you couldn't see them like there was more pictures, but you can get a rough idea. And we got in the end we the darts I'm using now. I like the look of them, shot like the look of them, and it became and my form started picking up. I started to enjoy them, and they asked if I needed anything tweaking on them or anything, and I said at the minute I'm enjoying them, and that was 6-7 months ago. And I'm still using them now, so.
That's fantastic. And has your setup changed at all from when it was before, or like, could you just describe a bit about, I guess, what the dart looks like, and yeah, how much has the dart changed, or I guess your setup actually, I should say, how much has your setup changed?
Yeah, obviously I still use the long point, which I've always used, but I think the barrels have gone a bit longer than they was previously, and because of the back of the barrel where I hold as I throw, I spin the dart, so I couldn't have too much grip there because my fingers won't. I can't spin it enough. But there's been a lot more grip on it, and the shape's pretty much similar. I think they might be a little bit thinner than my other ones that I used to use, but yeah, they're not wildly different. But the grip at the front is a lot different. But there's like grooves that my fingers sit in. So yeah, the actual shape of them have not changed much, but the front bit of the grip's massively different to what I was used to.
And I guess with being with Shot now, and it's probably going to be a bit harder having your tour card, but I guess it might be pretty cool one day to go to the factory and see the darts getting made in action and actually seeing that whole process.
Yeah, 100%. That's something I'd love to do if that ever got offered to me. I'd 100% do it. But yeah, like you say, shots to say they're on the other side of the world, they're pretty the bob on when it comes to needing anything. You need any help with anything, or you need any flights or anything like that, or a new set sending up. They're pretty on the ball when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, being with Shot they made it so much easier for me, and I've enjoyed every minute since being with them.
You join a pretty good growing stable at the moment as well, which features Michael Smith. They got Neil Zonneveld on there as well, and Roby John Rodriguez. So there's some pretty good players in that stable.
Yeah, like you said, there's Shot have signed, like especially this year, they signed a few more people from over the UK, and the teams obviously they don't sign people for the sake of signing Shot. So I think the players they've got are capable of doing good things in the game, and I think you ought to be a certain type of person to be with Shot as well. You've got to want to succeed, and you want to use their products. And I think they've got the players they've got. These are very, very talented players.
Yeah, totally. And of course, Bradley, you're from Blackburn, and I asked you before off air, does that make you a Rovers fan? And you said yes. So I guess being from that area, could you just tell us what are some of your favourite memories of supporting Blackburn Rovers?
Yeah, let's say I've always supported them. They're my club. I'll watch them. Even when I'm at darts, I'll find a way to watch them. There's not been many highs with Rovers, to be honest, from what I can remember. But no, like you said, it's still my club. And if they lose on a Saturday, it puts me in a mood all day Saturday. So they lost on Tuesday, which I wasn't happy about. So, but no, like you said, your club, and I'll support them forever. And I always want them to do well. And like you said, there's nothing better feeling that if I'm at darts on a Saturday or somewhere I'm winning and Blackburn won, it's a perfect Saturday for me, really.
I get that feeling. I had to bring it up because I was going to ask, do you have many memories of their days in the Premier League? And I'm assuming you've been very young, so I'm not too sure the answer on that. But do you remember the Premier League days?
Yeah, I remember the Premier League days when we had Morton Gans. We had Ray Nelson. I think he was from New Zealand. Yeah.
I'm giving you a clap because you actually beat me to it, because I was actually going to put you on the spot and see if you could remember, but you've beat me to it. So congratulations.
Yeah, like you said, I do remember the time when we were in the Premier League. But obviously, since I've been going a lot more and stuff, it's always been in the Championships or the second division. But yeah, I still love watching Rovers, and then hopefully we're back in the Premier League soon enough.
Yeah, and I guess with the way the Premier League is at the moment, I guess you probably hope the team doesn't go straight back down, because I guess that's a pretty common theme at the moment. And I'm glad you brought up Ryan Nelson, because that's literally where I was going to go next. So I'm very impressed that you remember that, because I guess back when Ryan was playing and he was leading Blackburn, I guess he's probably for a while, until probably Chris Wood in the last couple of years with especially Nottingham Forest, but there was that stint there at Burnley as well. Ryan Nelson was always the kind of go-to New Zealand guy in the Premier League. So I'm very impressed you picked that up. So well done. And I also have to ask as well, just veering back to darts again, how often do you get reminded about being on the receiving end of that 9 data against Willie Borland?
Oh, it's all the time. Yeah, I still get it now all the time. Yeah. And the question I get the most is, how did you feel? I don't know if you expect me to say I was happy about it, but no, I get asked about it. Yeah, quite a lot still now. But like you say, it was a special moment, and it was arguably one of the best, if not the best, 9 data Ali Polly's ever seen. And obviously, it's not nice to be on the receiving end of it. But listen, it is what it is, and Willie took it out fair enough to him. But I still think I let the get. I think when people ask me, I say that second set I let go, which I probably should have won, and that put me 2-0 up. And I always say, if I'd have won that set, then it wouldn't have got to the last set. But no, like you say, it was a special moment, and to Willie, it was brilliant, and I just had to clap and shake out, and that's the way it is. Sometimes it's not your day, and it weren't my day that day.
Sorry I had to bring it up, but I guess it's something that is definitely on people's lips. But yeah. It's slightly related. But I guess when you're up there and you're seeing that moment, do you kind of get the feeling, like, I guess when he steps up for those last 3 darts, do you kind of get that feeling it's going to go in? Because obviously on one side you're thinking, please don't go in, but just the way that had gone, did you think there's a chance that could go?
Yeah, when the first treble of the 144 went in, I thought this is going. This is because he's definitely following that in, and yeah, it went. To be honest, most of it was a blur. To be honest, I like until I watched it back, I didn't know what my reaction was, and like you say, I was so engrossed in the game and trying my best to win the game that I didn't really think about it too much. But like you say, it's you can't really argue if you lose. It was his throw, he hit a 9 darts, so there was literally nothing I could have done. I threw 6 darts, so. Like you say, it's a moment at Ali Pally that he won't forget, and I won't forget, and the people there won't forget. And it's one of them. You have to move on for it, and then hope for the next time I'm there. You never know; it could be me doing it.
Yeah, it could be, and especially with the way you've been thrown at the moment, mate, with the new darts, I definitely wouldn't put that past you. So, Bradley Brooks, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it, taking time out of your schedule to have a chat. Of course, you've got a very busy schedule coming up this year, being back on the Pro Tour, and congratulations, and also with the move to Shot as well. Fantastic having you part of the Shot Darts tribe, and all the best for hopefully third time lucky there on the PDC Pro Tour for you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for having me.
Bradley Brooks joining us there on the Kiwi Darts Podcast. All the best for 2005, Bradley. We'll be definitely watching with a lot of interest here in New Zealand now with that connection with Shot Darts. Great to see that the move is working out great for you. It's going to be your 3rd time there on the PDC Tour. It's going to be great watching you in action. Now, that's all we got time for here on the Kiwi Darts Podcast this week. Next week, we have a exclusive interview. I'm not going to reveal too much information on it, but there is going to be some exciting news shared in the podcast. So don't forget to like, subscribe, wherever you get your podcast from, so you can tune in and make sure you'll be one of the first to hear this awesome news coming up on the Kiwi Darts Podcast. I'm Ben Francis. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.